Hello, my most awesome project managers. I hope you are doing very well today. We're going to take a look at a few basic questions. I'm going to show you just 5. For those of you who are getting ready for the exam, I want to call this to your attention. If you feel you are in the middle of the journey, then by now you absolutely need to get 100% on these questions I'm going to be asking you. Okay? So what I want you to do right now is take a pen and a paper. I want you to take a look at the screen. And I want you to take a look at the first few questions I am showing. And then we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at the answers. So here's the first one. You have been brought in to spearhead a project that has just been authorized. The next thing you should do on joining the project is. Then the same question is repeated in the second line. I want you to take a look at question 1 and 2, hit the pause button so that I don't spoil the fun for you. And then I'm going to tell you the answer. So right now, please hit that pause button. I don't want you to waste this exercise. There's no point in me reading a question and telling you answers to it immediately if you do not attempt it yourself. So hit the pause button and give it a little bit of thought, and then unpause it, and we will look at the answer together. Okay, I'm guessing you are off pause now, so let's read. You have been brought in to spearhead a project that has just been authorized. What does that mean? This statement right here that has just been authorized, my PMBOK scholars intermediate, right? Those of you who are in the middle, because this is more like the intermediate zone. I mean, I'm expecting that you're going to mow this down. This is an intermediate trick right here. They're feeding you with information that is meant to help you answer the question. So a project that has just been authorized, it means you've just developed your project charter, right? Okay. The next thing you should do on joining the project is direct and manage the project work, develop a project management plan, develop a project charter, work on creating a business case. So here's the logic. If you just developed a project charter, you've already done a business case. You've already developed a project charter because that is where you are. Develop a project management plan. That is debatable. We'll come back to that. Let's look at the last option. Direct and manage the project work. Now, while that is not a bad thing to do, it is not what you do immediately after the charter. After the charter, you would do something else, but it won't be to immediately direct and manage the project work. So the answer to number 1 here is B, develop a project management plan. That is the best option from what is given. Let's go to the second one. You have been brought in to spearhead a project that has just been authorized. The next thing you should do on joining the project is same question, different set of solutions. This is a hallmark of the PMP exam. You could have same question, but people could get different answers, different options. So the next thing to do on joining the project is identify project stakeholders, direct and manage the project work, agreement, or economic feasibility study. Again, it has just been authorized. That is the clue. Since it has just been authorized, you know you are not doing a business case. This is really a business case. Did you know that an economic feasibility study is a business case? Well, you are not going to be doing that. That has already been done. The next option, going from the bottom up, and I like going from the bottom up, it forces you to look at everything. Agreements is the next one. Well, agreements are an input to developing the project charter, so it is not what you would do next. Okay? Agreements is not what you would do next. You should already have an agreement from a stakeholder or customer. That's the idea. Now, someone might say, oh, but don't you do agreements and conduct procurement? Yes, but that is not what you do next. You see, it says the next thing to do. So if you overthink this, you could go down a rabbit trail and start thinking about stuff you shouldn't. It's what should you do next? Yes, you will get to the point where you create agreements with vendors and subcontractors, but it is not immediate. And that is also probably not what is being referred to here. Okay, so don't overthink your questions. Going from the bottom up, it says direct to manage project work. So think about it. You know that grid on page 25? When you have develop project charter here, right? You go all the way down initiating. As one of my students, Juan Carlos said, he said, you need to clear out initiating. I found that so interesting. Yeah. You need to clear out initiating. Even though it's in an iterative fashion that things happen, I totally got what he was saying. Yes, you need to be done with initiating. And what is right there at the bottom? Identify stakeholders, right? You don't just jump from here into executing direct to manage project work. So it is not B. The answer to this is identify project stakeholders. Okay. That is the answer. All right. So those are two questions. What you can learn from this is on the exam, read all your options. And secondly, look out for trigger words, keywords. There's some keywords that you'll be served on your exam. If you miss them, you could get the entire thing wrong. Okay. You do not want that to be the case. So read the entire question. Let's go on to our next set of questions. We're going to take a look at 5 here. And here is your next one. You can see that the third and the fourth are very similar. Your project initiator has taken the next step to formalize the project. You assisted in creation of the document that authorizes the project. The output from this effort is known as. And then you have the same question pretty much repeated, and it says the input for this effort is known as. Okay. And then if you take a look at the 5th question, you have been brought in to spearhead a project that has just been authorized. The next thing you should do in this knowledge area is. So I'm going to give you guys again a number of minutes to take a look at these. If you are in the intermediate stage, I'm hoping you're getting 100% in all of these. Take a look, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Hit the pause button and think. All right, my friends, let's take a look at these last 3 questions for today. The first one, your project initiator has taken the next step to formalize the project. You assisted in the creation of the document that authorizes. Oh, they're talking about the project charter here. Okay. This is how you need to be thinking about questions. Keywords need to be highlighted or written. You know, it's unfortunate in the Pearson Test Center. I'm unaware if you can highlight stuff and mark stuff up, but you could back in the day at Prometric. I'm not sure if you can do that now. I don't think you can. I think you can mark questions and come back, but the highlight and the strike through functionality in the Prometric interface was really, it was priceless. But anyway, it says your project initiator has taken the next step to formalize. That is also pointing towards the development of the project charter, you see. So it says the output from this effort is known as. So what is the output of develop project charter? Because that's the process being described. What is the output of develop project charter? Now you would look for the project charter It's not terms and conditions. It's not project agreements because that's an input. It's not casual old project documents, but the second output of develop project charter is the assumption log. This is under 4.1 in the PMBOK guide. If you didn't know this now. It's basic, but this same reasoning, this same understanding is needed for the more advanced questions. All right, question 4. Your project initiator has taken the next step to formalize the project. You assisted in the creation of the document that authorizes the project. The input used for this effort is what? So formalize, again, they're talking about develop project charter. Authorized, you're talking about the project charter. Okay. So it says the input used for this effort is, what is the input for develop project charter? Let's start from the bottom up. We have business case and agreements. That is not entirely bogus, is it? We have business documents. We have agreements. We have issue log, but the issue log is not an input to develop project charter. So we can cancel out C. Benefit stakeholder list. This is bogus. There is no such thing. Agreements. There is such a thing. However, there's a better option. So instead of just selecting the one that says agreements, we're going to select the one that says business case and agreements. Now, for those of you that haven't looked under the surface, you got business case, which is part of business documents. So the PMI isn't always going to give it to you on a platter of gold that, oh, the benefits management plan and the business case are classified as business documents. No, they won't. They could just appear as part of an answer. And in that regard, you need to know, oh, business case, that's a business document, for example. All right. Let's take a look at the final one here. It says, you have been brought in to spearhead a project that has just been authorized. The next thing you should do in this knowledge area is, so again, it has just been authorized. Just been authorized alludes to the project charter. So the next thing you should do in this knowledge area, okay? So is it the business case? No, that's already been done. Is it direct to manage project work? Not yet. That's too soon. Is it performing a greater change control? Wait a minute, there's a trick to this. So if I end up canceling everything that I'm expecting is not on the list, I'm going to end up with where I am. So I need to go back and think, what have I already done and what am I doing? Okay. I've already done the business case and I'm doing the project charter. Now, this narrows down your focus to these two. You know it has got to be one of these. The question is, which one comes first? Work on the project or change request? The answer is you would think about directing and managing the project work first before going into performing integrated change control. So the answer to this is D. And with that, I hope you have had fun in going through these very, very basic questions with me. I call them namby-pamby questions. You might have something else you call it, but these are very, very, very basic. So if you are on our course and you are signed up to our learning management system, you probably already know that we have much more horrendous questions than this. I mean, really, really terrifying questions. I mean, the questions we have on the learning management system, they are like 10 times worse than this. They're bad. Sometimes they even get me. They're that bad, that bad. So if you're looking to learn more and do more in this PMP exam prep, I would advise you go to the website. It's praizion.com. That's Praizion.com. And when you hit the website, the very first panel has the PMP exam prep camp course. That is the course you want to sign up for. That has mock exams, it has quizzes, it has a plethora of stuff. There is so much stuff on that website. I mean, where do we even start? Let's take a look real quick. If you go to Praizion.com, the very first panel has got a full-blown 35-hour mock exam. No, I beg your pardon, 35 contact hour course. That would be killing. A 35-hour mock exam. It's got a 35-hour course, and within this course, we have 3 200-question mock exams. We have one 50-question mock exam. This one takes 4 hours. This one takes 1 hour. And then we have over 50 hours of video for you to watch. There is so much content in it. And part of the content is from the world of Agile, and every knowledge area is covered here, process by process. The level of detail that we go into in this training is so deep and detailed. I mean, to tell you how deep it is, sometimes I personally have to go in to study on this system myself, because the system is dense and it is very content rich. And as you're studying, you're going to be given challenges that open your eyes to what you do not know. They're going to sensitize you. They're going to make your ears perk up. You're going to be wondering, my goodness, where did this question come from? Or I've never heard this concept before. The reason is because there's a ton of value, my friends, ton of value. So when you get into the system, you're going to see a number of not just quizzes, but also videos. You know, you got a video for a 1-minute summary to integration. You've got a concepts, trends, and tailoring and consideration for Agile. Let's go down here. You also have go into the troublesome areas. Don't you love risk management? Is one of the worst of the knowledge areas because it's so beefy. There are 7 processes. So I'm going to click on this. I'm just going to play a little clip from the risk management supposed 1-minute summary. But I'm telling you, risk is so dense that we had to do a 5-minute summary. Can you imagine a 5-minute summary? That deep and that detailed. So I'm going to play the introduction to risk for you, and you can get an idea of how deep it is.
Welcome to the 1-minute plus summary in risk management. The first process in risk management is planned risk management and planned risk management plan. In fact, it's our only output. The next process. Welcome to the 1-minute plus summary in risk management. The first process in risk management is planned risk management. In planned risk management, our main aim is to define the processes of risk management that we need to follow on a project. So our major output is the risk management plan. In fact, it's our only output. The next process is identify risks. In identify risks, we are identifying risks, as the process implies. We are producing a register called a risk register. And the risk register contains the risks, their cause, and the effects of these risks at first. We could also have as a possible output a risk report. So our outputs are the risk register and the risk report. The risk register is broken into the format, or should be broken into the format, cause, risk, effect. Our next process is perform qualitative risk analysis. This is where we qualitatively analyze the risks and we seek to categorize the risks. Our major output from this is called project documents updates, but don't forget the major document that you are updating is the risk register. Our next process after this is called perform quantitative risk analysis. In perform quantitative risk analysis, we're going to take that risk register that is now categorized and is now in some sort of ordering. We're now going to further analyze these risks. And then, in some instances, we could use expected monetary value to find out what the actual aggregate amount is when all these risks are combined on the project. After coming up with this updated information, we update our risk register, and then we've got a more thorough ordered list of risks. Those risks that are not high probability or high impact, they go down to a watch list. The lower levels of the risk register are usually looked at as a watch list of risks. And then we go into our next process, plan risk responses. If you're faced with a negative risk, you could avoid it, you could transfer it, you can mitigate it, or you can accept. Transfer, avoid, mitigate, accept. In some instances, you need to escalate the risk. If you're faced with a positive risk, again, you can escalate it. If you don't know what to do with it, or you don't have the capabilities of dealing with it, escalate to senior management, as you did in the negative, or you could exploit, enhance, you could share or accept. So in planned risk responses, we decide how are we going to respond to risk, positive or negative. Again, we update our risk register with the potential risk response, and some people call the risk response owner.
Well, there you heard it, my friends. That is just one tiny piece of risk management. I mean, that is just the summary. Can you imagine? What would it be like if you dug into the ridiculously deep, grimy, murky details that the PMBOK guide does not help you go through? This curriculum is so content rich. I cannot even explain. I have to click on another one just to show you the level of detail we've been through to get you to understand some of the content. Let's take a look at the assessment of other risk parameters. We've got a video here. I'm going to play it. Good afternoon, my friends, or good evening. How you doing? It's your friend Phil here. I hope you're doing awesome. It's a reminder that you know who is always prowling around. Hang on a second. I'm going to get my special guest for this session. He's always prowling around. Hello. Do you know the meaning of propinquity? How about the meaning of detectability? I didn't think you knew. That's why you need this class, so you'll know what other risk parameters are. All right, shut up, Pimpy. Go to your corner. Go to your corner. All right, I didn't mean him to freak you out like that, but a lot of folks have not really dived into other risk parameters that's in here, and I just suddenly realized a lot of students have no idea what detectability means, what manageability means, what proximity means. I mean, they all sound like familiar words until you hit propinquity. You're like, my goodness, is that a real word? I was training a firm out in the UK. They said, Phil, that can't be a word, until I opened up the dictionary and showed it to them. It just means that the risks matter a lot to stakeholders. So I'm going to be going through some of these for you. I don't know, how much of this stuff you've actually studied deep, but we're going to be going through each one of these: dormancy, proximity, urgency, all of these other risk parameters that people kind of have subliminally, but don't really define. And my buddy, the risk doctor, he did a great job because he was in charge of chapter 11 in this book. And he did an awesome job putting all this information together into a language that you can understand. You just need to apply yourself to, categorize these different parameters in such a way that you'll remember them. All right. So I'm going to be sharing with you my unique method. This is not PMBOK guide only. This is PMBOK plus Phil. In fact, a lot of my training is PMBOK plus Phil. So don't bring out your magnifying glass saying, well, that's not really PMBOK, all right? It's just my way of training students to remember this stuff, all right? So we're going to take a look at these other risk parameters this afternoon. So let's get started with it. Now, taking a look at what I am displaying behind me,
or should I say who I am displaying behind me. What risk parameter is this? What other risk parameter is this? Can you guess? Oh, forget it. Forget it. Let's just get started. Everyone's still on their Thanksgiving leftover binge. So I might as well just get started. No one's going to speak to me, apparently. So let's just do it. Other risk parameters. Other risk parameters explained. Like you've never seen it before. I don't think you have anyway. All right, so let's talk about these other risk parameters. So let's open up our book to where it's all happening. It's all happening in chapter 11. May you never file for that. May chapter 11 be as far away as the east is from the west, where you're concerned. Oh, sorry, if you're not from the US, you probably won't get it. Okay, let's go to page 423. 423, third bullet there at the bottom, it says assessment of other risk parameters. Assessment of other risk parameters. So this is under data analysis. You know, data analysis is huge. Data analysis is a catch-all for any type of analysis that you're doing on data. See? So in fact, if you go to page 687 and you take a look at the table X6-1, okay, if you take a look at that page, the second entry there is assessment of other risk parameters. So this is not just some random line in the PMBOK guide. This is one of the data analysis tools and techniques. And it is relevant, not just for those studying for the PMP, but even for the CAPM, it's worth knowing. And those of you studying for the RMP, you better know this. So, assessment of other risk parameters. Let's go back to page 423 and let's read. It says, the project team may consider other characteristics of risk in addition to probability and impact when what? Prioritizing. When prioritizing individual project risks for further analysis and action. These characteristics may include, but are not limited to, let's begin to read. Urgency, proximity, dormancy, manageability, controllability, detectability, connectivity, strategic impact, and last but not least, propinquity. See that? So what we're going to do this afternoon is go through these. I've got a 4-up matrix method for you to store these in your head and to help you get through the content. Have you ever hit a page in the PMBOK guide and you're like, I need someone to break it down for me. Oh, let me just zone out. I want to pretend it's not there. That ever happened to you? It's happened to me. I take a look at this page. I'm like, students need some help. Shri said, woohoo, hangover. Hangover? No, that's not one of the other risk parameters. Not hangover. It's more like dormancy, isn't it? Is asleep under the influence. Okay. So that's dormancy. Anyway, so I'm going to break this down for you in a 4-up manner for it to actually stick, because I want the meaning to stick for you. I don't want you to just go through the motions. So let's take a look at what we have. Okie doke. So the very first category, I put these in categories. And again, don't go all, OCD on me saying, it's not PMBOK, it's not PMBOK. Yeah, I classify them how I want to help people, all right? So if you're one of those PMBOK Puritans, this is probably not going to go down well with you. But anyway, Time period, all right? Time period is the first category. Now, under time period, if you go through what the PMI has, you'll find out that 3 of these are linked to a time period in the description. So, dormancy, time period, the time period that it's dormant for, but then we're talking about the discovery that something has happened. So let's read dormancy, what it says here on page 424. It says, the period of time that may elapse after a risk has occurred before its impact is discovered. So we're talking about discovering the impact of a risk that has happened, all right? So again, the period of time before the risk might have an impact on one or more, the period of time that may elapse after a risk has occurred before its impact is discovered. A short period indicates low dormancy. Next one is urgency. Now you probably realize I highlighted some letters yellow. It is to help recall what exactly it's linked to. So urgency, I have an E that's really big in yellow, and I have an R that is smaller in yellow. So let's read urgency. It says the period of time within which a response to the risk is to be implemented in order to be effective. In other words, if you don't act on maybe a mitigation plan today, forget it. If you do it tomorrow, even doing it tomorrow will be too late for it to make a significant dent. So when you think about urgency, we're talking about effectiveness of your response. For the effectiveness of your response, you want it to be effective, you need to do it like right away. And that's what the R, the little R, the yellow, that is response effectiveness, all right? So the last one under this category is proximity, okay? Now, let's read what the PMI say in the PMBOK guide about proximity. It says the period of time before the risk might have an impact on one or more project objectives. See, the period of time before the risk, hence the yellow R, the risk may have a what? Impact, have an impact. So the I stands for impact, okay? The period of time that may elapse, the period of time before a risk might have an impact on one or more project objectives. A short period indicates high proximity. So we're talking about risk impact, and we're linking that to the time period. So the period of time before the risk might have an impact on one or more project objectives.
So, my friends, I hope this has given you an idea of how deep and detailed this curriculum is. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not even a process. This is not even a whole tool and technique. This is a piece of a tool and technique that we're going in on like this. Can you imagine what the rest of the system would be? Or you go to cost management, where we've got earned value mania. You take a look at the timeline. It's 2 hours, 54 minutes only for earned value, just for earned value. Can you imagine that? Earned value alone. We got control costs, determine budget, estimate costs, and plan cost management as well. And then we've got the CTTCs as well, concepts, trends, tailoring, and consideration for agile in cost management. Look, it's 4 minutes long. If you really mean business for your prep, you feel that you lack direction and guidance, this is what you need, my friend.
For a lot of people that I've trained, I find them finding it.
Let's start from the beginning.
Concepts, trends, and tailoring for cost management. Now, the idea of cost is very accessible and easy to understand. For a lot of people that I've trained, I find them finding it difficult to comprehend how cost management on a project is different from budgeting in a department, and it is different. Key concept in cost management is understanding that the cost is for the resources predominantly. So in an organization that does not want to track costs and they want to track resource hours, it could be a little bit hard making the shift. Think about an example the PMI gave. You're having design reviews and everyone's meeting to review the designs. Did it occur to you that those resources present in the meeting are raking up lots of money? You got 20 resources spending 1 hour, that's 20 hours, and if each resource costs $75 an hour, it quickly adds up $1,500 for a meeting. Another aspect in cost management that I encourage students to be aware of is that in the world of the PMI, we need to recognize that different stakeholders look at cost in different ways and in different times. Some stakeholders may not want to spend money on a particular activity on the project. Also, the cost of an acquired item could be measured when the acquisition decision is made or committed. So there's one idea of cost being spent when the product arrives or cost being spent when the order is placed. When do we record that a cost has been expended? Is it when the item is delivered or is it when the order is placed? So those concepts are very important to realize. It really depends on the organization's practices, and these vary from firm to firm. What about trends? Regarding trends in costs, I think a really big one is earned value management. To understand that the concept of earned value is very important. Also, there is the concept of earned schedule. Earned schedule is an extension to EVM, and earned schedule replaces the schedule variance measures used in traditional EVM. But I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to scramble around what you're going to learn for the PMP exam. Thinking about tailoring considerations, for me, a big one I've seen in firms is people tailoring cost management to meet what they need. And a lot of firms say, Phil, we do not need earned value, so we're not going to do earned value. When it comes to tailoring, also think about knowledge management. So all the knowledge that you gain on the project, can this be gleaned and reused? Knowledge gained in cost management.
So there you have it again, my friends. This is just the beginning. I mean, we haven't even gone into one single process in cost. We are just on the outskirts, and you see how deep and detailed the CTTCs were: concepts, trends, tailoring, and consideration for agile. So, my friends, I mean, by the time you hit something like estimate cost, we're separating out a solid 12 and a half minutes, actually going on 13 minutes, just to talk about all of these concepts and estimating techniques and
Estimate costs. Estimate costs is a process in which we estimate how much each activity will cost. Remember, the words activity and task are used interchangeably. This may be also where we estimate how much each work package will cost. Now,
So there you have it, my friends. I'm sure by now you can see you got a great idea of just how much volume of content is on this course. So again, I would advise you want to sign up for this, you need to go to Praizion.com. That's www.praizion.com, just like it's spelled on the screen. Okay. Go to the very first panel. Very first panel. Okay. That is what you want to sign up for, to get all those videos, to get the LMS, to get the mock exams, to get everything. Sign up for that. Okay. When you hit that button, it'll take you to a page where you can actually sign up right there. Okay. And if you scroll down, you've got options for this course. You can sign up for a week, you can sign up for a month, you can sign up for 6 months. Some people sign up for 6 months and they renew and they sign up for another 6 months. And just the other day, we had one of our gurus who has been studying for going to 12 months nonstop. Charles, he got certified. And this was a system he was pounding on all throughout his prep. He came onto some of our live sessions, but he was solidly on this course. He ate and drank everything that was in this course. All right. So if that is you and you're looking to, sign up for a course that will put you on the right path to success, this is it. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. I wish you all the very best in your prep, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now.